All right, so now we are recording. So just for announcement purpose, first of all, for everyone who is here and who, or maybe who is looking at the recording of this lecture, that I have given a schedule, if you can see on Teams, and I have shared on your course shell as well on Blackboard, that I will be available on Wednesday on two timings, like, from 9 to 11 and then 1 to 2 p.m. and 9 to 11 a.m. by the way, and then on Thursday I'll be available from 9 to 10. So I would like to meet all of them who have any who have any like questions or something. I would be happy to just discuss with them. So, but again, as I said, that I would be expecting a comment or a meeting information on the Teams maybe or my email. So you have to just inform me that yes, you will be meeting with me, and I would definitely like to meet all of you. Okay, so let's start about this week. And as I said, this week is a very interesting one, and we have got. We'll just start a new topic today. Right, let me share my screen and let me show you some interesting things. Right, and by the way, those who are looking at this recording, as per the schedule, I have asked that whenever you have a class session, live session, for example, MBB, I do this today on Monday at 1:30. So whenever you have, for example, ZBB section, they have at 2:25 on Wednesday, and then ZPE section they have on Thursday at 1:30. So if you belong to any of those sections, you have to join your live session at least. And I'm marking this attendance, and of course, it looks like it's almost equal to that one class you are getting 2 attendances. So if you are absent in one of the sessions, so that technically means that you are absent in 2 sessions, right? Right. So I'll just start this business. Right. So, okay, my mic is muffled. Just give me a second. How about it now, Daniel? Oh, it's fine now. Okay. So whenever it happens, Daniel, let me know. It's whenever something of this kind happen, just let me know, because I would try to, adjust my mic, or I would definitely try to. So we are into our week 5. So I'll start my week 5 folder with you, so that we have got the lecture codes. So week 5, I'll start week 5 in a fresh folder. And I'm expecting that you had a chance to look at all the recordings, like again, the recording of last session that I shared. So you have that one. Okay, so for next week, there's an announcement with related to, there's an announcement for next week. Next week, we might not have this live session with you. I will be, I will be traveling on Monday. I have to travel, so I might not be available on that day. So what I'll do is that for next Monday only, you might get a recorded session for that one as well. So again, but that means that I might be having an interaction with all of you in your second session, which is on Thursday at 3:20. Is that clear to everyone? Next Monday, I might not be with you in a live session. Rather, you might get a recorded session for Monday as well. But I would be with you on Thursday, just for maybe for another session, or maybe I would discuss it with you, all the things that are remaining. So next Monday, please keep in mind, and I will put that announcement as well formally, and I will put the content as well for that one. But there is more than 99% chance that I won't be available on next Monday, because I'll be traveling for some reason, and definitely I'll be available from Tuesday. So I might I might publish a schedule for Tuesday as well, where I will be meeting with you again if you have any questions related to that. Anyhow, so now we are talking about this week 5, and let's first of all create, I have this habit of creating some notes file as well, because this is our week 5. So we are starting our week 5. Now, week 5 is very interesting. Up till now, we have discussed JavaScript. And last class, if you have seen the recording of the last session as well, that we have talked about a lot about this prototypal inheritance. We have talked about the other aspects of object-oriented programming. So we have done a lot of good stuff over there. So we are, one way or other, we are more than done with our JavaScript for the time being. But of course, this JavaScript will come back again into action when we are done with HTML, when we are done with DOM, by the way, or maybe CSS. Then I'll talk about this JavaScript again, because we will be doing maybe some live projects with that one. One or two projects that I'll be doing that would contain JavaScript, that would contain HTML, that would contain all those rest of the things. So the topic for today, or the topic that we are starting today, is HTML. And it's a very, very interesting, topic. And I hope that you will enjoy that. And I would suggest that, I would say that this is by far the easiest of the languages that we are learning here. The JavaScript had, again, that all programming constructs and all those things. And the CSS also had some typical things, and we have not talked about CSS, by the way. So we'll talk about CSS as well. It also has some of the typical syntax and things like that. But when you talk about HTML, it's rather not that difficult. It's rather not that not that sort of programming, so to speak, because you will see that there are so many things that you cannot do in HTML directly. For that, you need to take help from JavaScript. For example, whenever you have to introduce the looping or something, you will have to introduce JavaScript over there. So we'll talk about HTML, and as I said, we'll be talking about this. So we will be using this HTML over here. And please correct me, or please remind me if I have asked or not, that in Visual Studio Code, I don't know if I did it with you, please remind me, that if you go to extensions, view extensions, and there is an extension of live server. If you can find that out, live server. Please correct me, Vinny, did I ask you guys to install this live server before, like this extension? I don't remember, because the day. Okay, no problems. Anyone else? No problem. Now, all of you do this because you have this Visual Studio Code installed into your system. I would suggest that all of you go to this extension, and okay, that's fine. Many thank you. And just install this live server, because it is installed in my system. So just install this one live server, which has this Wi-Fi like symbol and something like that. So just install this Wi-Fi, this live server with everything. And whenever you are done, just write a done in the chat window. That way I would know that how many of you are just following my instructions, right? So just write a done in the chat window when you're done with this live server. That's good, Andy. Thank you very much. Yeah, no problem. No problems. Typo is always available. Anyhow, so yeah, so this is the side thing that you have to do, and whenever you are done, you can just write a done over there. So we have to start HTML, because that would be real help, and we'll talk about that. HTML, first of all, hypertext and markup language. And I'll give you a very quick introduction of that. Okay, that's good. I can see done from maybe 7 to 8 people, and I'm expecting that rest of them are also will be doing that, installing that one. Actually, thank you. That's good to know. Hypertext markup language, HTML, or the short form is HTML. Now, HTML is primarily, if you talk about HTML, is the base language for web programming or website development. Now, whatever technology you are working on for developing websites, on the down deep, whenever you will just go to the depth, you will always find HTML over there. I can safely say something about HTML. HTML is generally considered as the mother of all web scripting or web programming, web languages. So HTML hypertext markup language is the base language that you need to learn. If I tell you something, the JavaScript that we have discussed or C++ we have already studied. So generally, it's said that C language is basically called as the mother of modern programming languages. Why? Because the syntax that was introduced, the looping structures, the all those things, the conditional structures, everything that was introduced, the arrays and things like that in C or C++, they have been quite efficiently used in all of the modern programming languages. It means that we say that C language is the base language. If you learn C language, if you know about so you see that JavaScript was become very easy for us because we knew about for loop, we knew about the most of the things, if and else condition and like that. So in the same context, I will say that HTML is generally basically it's the base or the mother language of all web programming. You talk about any latest and greatest web technology, on the down deep depth you will always find HTML hypertext markup language. And what it does, it basically allows us to write content or write, I would add something, structure content in or on a web page. So this will allow us to write or structure our contents on a web page. Right? What does that mean? HTML will allow us to structurally write our web page. Now, days are gone. In good old days, HTML was used for some way or other. Some part of designing was also used by HTML, hypertext markup language. We used to give font colors. We used to give background colors. We used to give background images in good old HTML. I'll talk about old HTML. When we say old HTML, what do we mean? Anyhow, in old HTML, we used to do a little bit of jobs with our HTML as well of the design part, the coloring or the font changing or the background changing. We used to do with HTML, but those days are gone now. Now HTML is only there to structure content on a web page. And by structure or by putting your content, we mean that syntactically and semantically organizing content. It will be the job of HTML these days, organizing the content. I'll talk about semantical and syntactical. I know that some of you might be thinking, might be just scratching their head, what is that semantical and syntactical? I'll talk about that. What is semantical and what is syntactical? So actually, HTML does what? HTML gives us this feature of semantically or syntactically organizing our content. You need to just keep that in mind. So by using HTML, we just we try to structure out. I can safely say one thing which you won't find in literature. Maybe the bones of your bones of our website will be developed by HTML. Bones of our website by HTML. So we get the bones, bone structure or the skeleton of our website will be HTML. Okay, you might be thinking that where does the color and all those things will come? You know about that. There is a CSS for that to give design and coloring and things like that. We have CSS for that, right? And we'll talk about that. I'm not talking about CSS right now because we are right now starting this HTML. You got the point? I hope you are with me. CSS is not our topic for today. Our topic is HTML, and I've said that about HTML that it allows us to write or structure our contents on the web page, syntactically and semantically organizing the content, and it's safe to say that bones and structure of our website is created by the HTML. Okay, let me see how many of you are attending class properly. Andy Carter, Perth, Joseph, Kunal, and Vinny. So it looks like these are the 5 or 6 people who are just listening to me and who are just who have done that installation that I was talking about, right? Because I don't know. Okay, Inderpal, thank you for mentioning that. I told everyone that whenever you are done, you need to mention that, but looks like you did not hear me. Anyhow, and that would be my attendance for today, by the way. Those who are just replying to my questions, they would get the attendance by me. Anyhow, so CSS is for that, to give design and colors and all those things. Daniel, so that's something that I've been saying. I just asked to install this live server extension into your VS. Nothing else. I've not asked anything to join or something, but I just asked you to just define that one. Okay, Daniel, that's a separate question. You go to view, you go to your extensions, and there you find this live server. And whenever you find this live server, this one, and you install that one. Yeah, Andy, thank you very much. Christopher, you say that you have done that, but Christopher, I don't know where were you before that one. Anyhow, so yes, so CSS is there for designing, and we are just talking about here in HTML. We'll say that HTML is just there for structuring of the content. Now, HTML is hypertext markup language, as I said, and by hypertext markup language, we say that we mark up our document. We define the rules and regulations for particular areas, and that is called marking up. So, for example, if I say, again, B has been obsolete right now, but I'm just telling you, I want this text to be bold. Now, so those who are familiar that HTML uses the concept of this tag. I'll talk about this tag, by the way. But what HTML does is that it's called markup language. So I have just marked up this area from this point to this point, and I said that this point to this point, everything that is coming over here should become bold, should be coming as a bold text. So that's what called marking up. I've marked up this area with some some rules and regulations. So these are called the marking of the document. So I've just marked up this document. And anyhow, we'll talk. And what is hypertext? Hypertext is basically, I'm just giving the proper sense. When we say hypertext refers to the linked text. Linked text is basically hypertext. So linked text, marking up different areas, and it's a language. It's basically a scripting language that is used over there. Now, HTML does all these things by using the following component. The first very important component is a tag. What is a tag? A tag is a combination of less than sign, greater than sign, and some contents in between. Some content in between. This is called a tag. What is a tag? So if I say body, this is a tag, right? If I say HTML, this is a tag. If I say head, this is a tag, something like that. So a tag is basically what? Necessarily a combination of less than sign, greater than sign, and something in between. That is called, that is typically called as a tag, right? So for example, and there are lots of other examples as well. There's one tag which is IMG. So I'll say IMG, image tag. So I'll talk about all of this. Right? So these are called tags. A tag is combination of less than, some content in between, and greater than. So this is called tag. This is one tag, this is second tag, this is tag. Now here comes another concept, element. There is something called element in HTML. What is element? Element is combination of starting tag, right? Starting tag, or we also call it, I'll that's in bracket, opening tag. So combination of starting tag or opening tag plus contents in between, plus content in between is called element. It's called element. What do you mean by that? So if I ask you a question, if I ask you, is this an element right now in its original shape, which I have written down? Your answer should be no. How it will become an element is if there is something else, something in between, and then there is ending of this one. Now you will collectively call that this is one element. Element is what? Starting tag plus content and plus ending tag. Is that making sense to everyone? Okay, thank you. That's nice. Good. All right. So starting tag, ending tag. This is called one element. So please remember, this is called one element, right? So closing tag, opening tag, plus something in between is called an element in HTML. Okay, I'll talk about an empty element, but I'll talk about that later on. Then there is another concept which is called attribute. What is attribute? It's the optional characteristics, optional characteristic of an element, right? It's an optional characteristics of an element, and it is in the form of key value. And I'll tell you what does that mean. Now, it's called basically an optional thing. So, for example, I have a tag. I'll talk about that. There's a tag called paragraph. So if I just mention this paragraph, I'm saying that this is some text. I'm saying that this is some text, for example. Now, if I ask you a question till now, is this an element? If I talk about what I've highlighted, is this an element or not? Your answer will be, of course, yes. Why it's an element? Because paragraph tag is there, opening tag, closing tag. There is some content in between. You will say that yes, this is an element. But if I ask you what is attribute, attribute is something that gives some extra functionality to this one. So what I've done, without like before closing the tag sign, what I've done, I've given one attribute. This is called attribute and its value. It's in key value form, as I was saying, key value form. So I can give some attribute, something like this. This is called extra functionality of any tag. So optional characteristics of an element, or you can call it a tag as well, because we just write it in the starting tag. But anyhow, optional characteristics of element, and we just give them for what? For sometimes for some particular things, sometimes some particular items. We can just do that, something like that. Right? Sometimes you'll be using this ID is equal to, sometimes you will see that I'll tell you, you'll be using something using class equal to demo, something like that. So whatever comes in as inside the tag sign is basically called as attribute. This is called attribute of that. Right? So they are called attributes, and I'll talk about that one. Attributes usually are in key value pair, number one, and key is always it's never surrounded by anything, but value we usually surrounded by inverted commas. Right? So surrounded by inverted commas, and we'll see that more and more attributes when we talk about something. Now the other thing that I want to talk about over here is entity. Entity is quite interesting. So it's a special text that has some figurative meaning. I can just give my own definition. Figurative meaning. What does that mean? First of all, how does entity start? Entity starts with ampersand and ends with semicolon and something in between both these two. Something in between. What does that mean? I'm just giving an example, and I will write an HTML program, and I'll discuss that with you. But let's first of all, if I write this one and I write this one, so anything in that's come in between, it will have a special meaning. It will be just converted into something like. So for example, if I say LT, I'm talking about less than sign. So this will print out less than sign, and I'll talk about that. Just don't worry. If I say GT, for example, I say ampersand GT and terminator, it will produce a greater than sign. As Parth has mentioned, if you say ampersand NBSP, it is called non-breaking space, and I'll talk about that space. So it will be converted, it will be changed to the space, and I'll talk about that one, as I said. And you can see there is another one. If you write copy and then this is called copyright. Copyright symbol will appear. And as I said, I'll talk about most of the things. Right? So now I'm about to show you something very interesting. This is the first ever web page that was created. And it was also created by Tim Berners-Lee. If you know about him, we have talked about that. This was the first HTML page ever created. Interesting, isn't that? Cool. It was first page that appeared on the web browsers. So it was the first one, right? And you see, if you okay, one point here, one very important point. If you want to look at the code of any document, you know, this is running in the browser right now. If you want to see this, of course, I can just share this one. You can open that one. So if you want to see its source code, I can just go right click and view page source. So I can say it's some header, it has some title, it has something like that. I don't know what else. There are some lots of things. And there was a header, something called which is header is there, but it's not there in this form. Now it has been converted to header, something like that. Anyhow, but this is the thing that we can just have a look at that one source. But anyhow, this was the first ever web page that was created, and Tim Berners-Lee created that one and it was created in August 6, 1991. 1991, this page was created, and it had some links. If I click on that links, it's opening something new. You see how simple is that? Why? Because of course this was just the beginning of the internet, and you know that after that there is no limit to this one. But anyhow, this was the first web page ever created in that. Now, without wasting any time, we'll be talking about something very interesting. Open up your web browser. Okay, I'm expecting that you have done this live server extension, and hopefully you have done that one. Go to your folder again, and just over here, create a new file. And one very important point to remember: usually index.html is always our first web page file that we create. And by the way, don't get impressed with this 5 symbol, because you will get a different symbol, a code line symbol, tag symbol. Don't worry about that. I'm using a theme, and I might tell you that how to install that theme later on. But right now you have just created an index.html. Have you done that? Whenever you are done, just mention a done or a D in the chat window. I'm having my little lunch alongside with. So Brian, what do you mean by it's not allowing you to change the name of the file? You're talking about this rename option? But I have not renamed that one, right? See here, I have just created a new file, and I can name it anything. For example, I say about.html, something like that, which I don't want, and I can delete that one. You got it right? So you can create a new file, Brian. Why you are renaming even? Okay. Brian, would you like sharing your screen if you want me to solve your problem? Maybe I don't know why it's happening. Brian, I'm waiting for your answer. Okay, screen sharing is okay. Okay, screen sharing might be disabled. I'll just do that. Just hold on. Now try that. Yeah, Brian, now try that. Okay, I got it. Brian, you have not opened up a folder till now. You don't have any folder being opened. Let me tell you. Yeah, click on this open folder. Yes, and maybe just create a folder somewhere. I cannot read what's written over there. Anyhow, so just create a folder over there and open that one. And now you will have a file that you can. It's still okay. Yeah, you have to create over here. Create index.html. Write down .html. You got it, Brian? Okay, Brian. So I'm taking your screen away. Right? I'm sharing my screen now. Okay, so should I expect that everyone has done that? They have got an index.html document, because I'm about to tell you some very interesting things by you. Wonderful. Kunal, wonderful. That's wonderful. So a lot of people have done that. Anyhow, now let's see. We are creating our first HTML document. By the way, I will tell you lots of shortcuts, but right now I'm giving you a long cut. For example, just type with me what I'm typing. First of all, this doc type HTML. Do that, and then type HTML. Just type HTML and hit enter. You will get HTML tag by itself. Just type HTML and hit enter. You will get complete HTML over here. After that, type head and hit enter. And inside head, type title, hit enter, and write down here first web page. Rather, write down my first web page. And now come out of the head section, head tag, and here write down body. Right, and here just type an H1 and write here right. Those who are creating it for the first time, there will be some people who are already familiar with that one, but I'm talking to those who are doing it for the first time. Now, those who are still not typing this or maybe finding it difficult, I'll paste it for them. Everyone do that. And after completing it, hit Control S or Command S. Control S for saving. Like again, Command S if you are on Mac. So Control S or Command S. And let me know that when you are done with this document. Everyone is done with this document. Let me know. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Let's start with a small quiz, a small question. Can you tell me how many elements I have written down in this document? Can someone calculate and let me know how many elements are there on my page right now? Elements. Okay, V6 says 2. Anyone else? Andy says 2. Good. Joseph says 2. Good. Anyone else? Kunal says 4. Good. But says 6. Okay. Right. Vinny says 4. Good. Anyone else? Good answers. These are very nice answers by you. Happy with these answers. But again, might be, I don't know if there are some correct answers, maybe there will be some wrong answers. Anyone else after Vinny's 4? Okay, let's start counting that one. First of all, remember one thing. Most of you might not know what that, but I'm telling you. Whenever something has, after this text sign, something has this sign of exclamation, it's not a normal element. Rather, it is called an HTML. It is called a declaration. Whenever something has, so you see that even comments also start with this one. And those who are wondering that how comments can be written without any, so I can just Control/E will bring up comments by itself. So whenever something starts with sign of exclamation, it is called declaration. It is not a normal HTML element. Got everyone? Now, the first HTML element, if I see, is the HTML. Do I see HTML and there is something in between that and then HTML and HTML? So number one, I have number one, this one. Let's count that one. This HTML is first element. Remember that whenever there's something of this kind comes, then whenever there is a sign of exclamation, it's not a normal HTML element. Inserting commands. Inserting comments you are talking about, Vinny. I think inserting comments, right? Not commands. Yeah. So control plus forward slash. I'll write it over here. So press control plus forward slash. Yes. Control and forward slash. If I take out plus, you are right. Andy has given the right one. So first element is HTML, Vinny. Now let's talk about this. Then there is this head. Head is also an element. 2. Now inside head there is title. Title is also an element. 3. Okay. Head is done. I can just collapse or expand it as well. So I'm collapsing it. After that I have body. Body looks like another element. 4. Right? And then inside body I have another element H1. I don't know what is that, but I have this H1 as well. 5. Got everyone? You are counting, I think 6. Those people were counting this doc type also. A doc type also with that one. Okay, this time. No problem there, Kunal. But do you understand the concept? These are the only elements that we are using. HTML, head, and body, and then body inside there is an H1. So count everything which is coming as an element. Okay, this was not part of our discussion, but let's discuss it that way as well. So I'm talking about basic HTML document. Now I'll be talking about basic HTML document structure. Basic HTML document structure. Okay, so HTML document, technically, if you just leave out a declaration for a second, what is this declaration by? This declaration tells my web browser that the document that you are about to read after me is all written in the latest HTML standard, which is HTML5 by the way, and I'll talk about that HTML5 later on. But right now, just to consider that, okay, if we write doc type HTML, it tells the browser that something, so declaration that the following document is an HTML5 document. You got everyone? This is the declaration, the first one. Now let's talk about, so this is the first line always of a web page, and this technically will appear. Now come over here. The first main important part of an HTML document, so there are some basic structural document things. The first and the foremost important is the HTML element, which encompasses all the web page. It has everything on web page is basically under this HTML, inside this HTML. Now, this HTML is also called root element, and that's a very important point. It is also called as root element. Got everyone? So HTML and HTML, this is the first basic structure of HTML page, and you see that HTML comprises all the web page, whatever you want to print in that one, whatever you want to put in that one, comes under this HTML. When I come inside this HTML, I find two main important sections. I'll just collapse them, both of them. I find two important sections. One of them is called head and the other one is called body. Now, let's go back to notes. The second important section in HTML is head. Head. What is head? So HTML is root element. I'll just complete that one. That encompasses or that holds all our web page together. What is head section? Head section is very interesting. Head section, I'll tell you, head section always executes first. Executes first. Number one. What is inside head section? Head section contains, you can write, it contains meta information. It contains script references. it contains etc., etc., etc. Lots of things. But the most important thing that it contains title element. Title element, which is directly visible on our web page somewhere. Other than this title element, nothing from this head is visible on our web page. What is contains? It contains meta information, it contains script references, it contains searchable keywords, searchable keywords like that, etc., etc., etc. But it contains the most important title, which is basically what that is shown on our web page. Now, first of all, these are the two structures. So head element is very important. It always executes first. It has meta information. It contains script references, what I want to include, anything, searchable keywords, with what keywords it will be searchable, and things like that. So that is all contained inside head. And I have just written down title, which will be directly visible on my web page. Number one. Now, then comes body. So if I collapse this head and expand body. So body has everything that you want to show your web page. Vinny, it's not exactly the same as header file in C, but it is something like you can say that it's one of the structural components of a web page that holds title in it and that holds some meta information in it. You know what I mean, Vinny? You might not call it similar header file on C. It's not that type of header file, but yes, it is one way or other looks like a bit same. But anyhow. So body is what? Body contains everything that you want to show to user. HTML contains all the web page, be it title, be it head, or whatever. And body is something that you want to show to your user. Now, I would like to tell you, how would you run this HTML document? First of all, I'll tell you the hard way, and then I'll tell you the very easy way. First of all, do you know that this is somewhere on your folder? I'll show you where this is on my folder, and then you can find it on your own folder as well. So if I go to my Seneca folder, if I go to this winter, if I go to my lecture course, week 5, here I find this index.html. Do you see that? So you can also find that on your folder and go and double click on that one. And you will get something like this. So let me know when everyone runs this page and see this output on their screen. Let me know. Wonderful. That's wonderful. No. It's not a public site, Andy. It's right now in my system and I've developed that one. Brian, here is your title. Brian, here is your title. Yeah, exactly. We can run that Visual Studio Code. Yeah. So it always represents, it comes on the tool. And now I would like you to just go back to this one and open this title and here write your name before this mic. Namanati, for example. Write your name. Come over here and refresh this page. Refresh. You'll find your name is also appearing over here. Oh, Andy, you enjoyed that one, right? And Vinny also enjoyed that. Right? That's wonderful. Now listen about that one. This is why I'm running this page, but you see that I'm running from my own drive. C drive, users, Naman PC, OneDrive, Seneca, Winter 22, lecture code, week 5 index. This is running from my machine, right? This is not the appropriate way of running web pages. I'll tell you a very appropriate way of running this web page. I'll close this one and I'll come to this, my structure folder structure. I will right click on index.html and I will say, if you have installed live server, you will find open with live server. Let me know when you are done. Click that open with live server. And now this is very different things. This is something very different. You see that this is now not running from my directory. Rather, it is running as 127.0.0.1. Anyone remember 127.0.0.1? You remember? There is no place like 127.0.0.1. Home. You remember? Yeah, localhost. So now it is running from a server, which looks more professional, which looks more good because now I am running this through a server and now server is running my document. Andy, you understand what I'm saying? Right now, it's a professional. It looks like that you are running a website from Google server or some server, Andy, you enjoy that, So I want to tell you that now we will be running our pages like this because this looks more professional. This looks more good that you are running your website on the server rather than running from your directory. You see how bad it looks like. It is running your directory. If you do that, can other no, right now no one can see it because it is in my system. Remember, this is my home address. Brian, if you want to see it to others, I will tell you that how you will show it to the other. Right now, just understand this is only in your system. You got it, not right? You got my point? Right now, it's not in your system, but later I'll tell you that how people will be. But in my own system, I'm creating a server and running this on the server. I'm just getting the feeling that my web page is running from a server, which is not there, by the way. I'm running from my own machine. But this live server is giving me a server environment where I'm running my page. Brian, are you making sense of this statement? Not only Brian, everyone is making sense of this statement. I am running my web page from a server which has been given by my live server. It's not a server that I created. Yes, Andy, you're right. You are a co-programmer now. And you'll definitely enjoy it. This is just the start of something amazing, you will just enjoy that a lot. Okay. Now, I'm just closing that for a second. I've told you hard way of running that. I've told you the easy way of running that. And now I would expect you to run always your web page like this. Right click, open with live server, and you will get your web page running over. Now, what is the benefit of that? You see, I'll tell you a very interesting benefit. If I run both of them side by side. Now, a very interesting benefit is that you see here what happens. As I do changes in my document and I hit save, see my running page on the right side. Do you see that it's automatically refreshes? I don't need to refresh that. Andy, do you see that? Okay, you come over here. I have not told you this H1, but let's do another H1. And I'll say I am a change, right? Something like that. And as I hit save, you see here, Andy, what happens? As I hit save, Control S, I get this change on my page. Kunal, enjoying that. Yeah. So you see how easy it has become. If I just all the way change this. So I say, for example, Seneca College. I just do that. If I do that college and I save that, you see that it really changes quickly. So I don't need to again refresh that, go and run that. Looks very bad. Now I'm very good with that. Yes, it's high tech. Okay. So far, so good. Looks like you have started enjoying this HTML. But I've not even told you a fraction of interesting things that we are going to do. Now, I'm about to say something that you might do not like, everyone. Just go into this page and delete everything. Everything I want you to delete. Just your page should look like blank one. Delete that. And believe you me, because you are about to get this page back. And as I hit save, you see everything goes away from my page, because it says that I don't understand because you don't have header body tag. Don't worry about that one. Yes, but this is right. Now everyone do this. Just put a sign of exclamation over here. It is called Emmet abbreviation, and hit enter. And don't worry about these few things. I'll talk about all of them. But do you see that your HTML document is one way or another again back with us? See here, delete. Just sign of exclamation and hit enter, and you'll get your complete web page back with some extra things that we have not talked about. I'll talk about them later on. Yeah, it's not only this is cool, Andy. You will see a lots of cool things. So so again, just for the time being, by the way, just don't worry about these 2 lines of the code. Just to keep things simple, I'm doing that. I can delete these 2 lines even, and my page will be. It will look like even I can remove this meta chart set as well. But I want to discuss that a little. That I'll talk about. So this is a proper HTML page that we have. And if you remember, that we talked about something called attributes. You find that there is one attribute language is equal to English, something like that. There is one attribute of meta char set is equal to UTF-8, something like that. So these are called attributes. When the tag has some extra optional functionalities with that, we call it an attribute. So you see attributes are over here. There's one more thing to notice over here. Do you see this meta char set? If I ask you, is this an element? What will you reply? Because it does not have an ending text. So when we say this tag, so tag has an ending tag as well sometimes. I'll talk about that. But we have talked about this tag. So every tag might have this, every tag has an ending tag. And how do we end tag? We just give this tag / and again the same tag name. It is an ending of the tag. So if I want to end HTML, what I do? Tag sign HTML like this. And that's what I say, that element is combination of all these. But do you see here this element, this meta element, this meta, this looks like not having an ending tag. Do you see that? But it has a very weird behavior of /. Now please listen, there is something in HTML which is called empty element. What does that mean? Listen, very important, empty element. And I did not discuss it intentionally before that. If I say body, hello and body, you will say, okay, this is an element that has some content in between that one. But if I say that there is a tag P and it does not have any contents in between that one. So first of all, there is no content. So it's an element, but no content. And what is element? Definition of element was starting tag, ending tag, and some content in between. So it has a starting tag, it has an ending tag, but there is no content in between. So if you have something like this, technically it is called empty element. It is called empty element. And we represent this empty element not by this one, but by this one. Only a single tag with a / towards the end. This represents an empty P tag, empty P element, which does not have any contents in that. Should I hope that you understand what I'm saying? For example, you know that if some tag does not have an element, you represent it like this. Or I can make it more easy. If you know that there is some tag that does not have a companion tag to close. For example, there is a tag that you will study, BR tag. BR does not have a companion tag. BR is line break. Yeah. So what we do is that BR, we represent this BR like this, So we say that BR is there is another tag which is called HR, horizontal ruler, line created. So horizontal ruler also comes in this way because they do not have a paired one. So whenever there is no paired, sorry. So would body, hello, would be correct? No, not at all. If something has a content in between, you can never do that one. It's only possible when there is no hello over here. Then you can do something like this. You remember? But if there is something like anything over in between as a content, you can never do that. You got it? So when the tag does not have an ending tag, we represent that as an empty tag or empty element. So if you experience here, you see that my meta element is basically an empty element because meta does not have any. But title is not an empty element. You see, title is a document, and I'll say again, first website, something like that. You can write anything you want, right? So I'll talk about this meta. So meta chart set, it tells us the UTF format, universal text format. UTF-8 is a standard. So whatever I will write down, all those characters will be mapped to this UTF. If you are really curious about this one, I would like you to just study about ASCII codes. If you have not heard about, I think you have heard about that one, ASCII codes, and then you talk about what are the UTF code, and you'll know that what are those ASCII and UTF codes. You can study it by yourself. I'm giving it as a self-study or something. UTF. So it is telling that meta chart set, the character set will be used as UTF-8, standard UTF-8. Anyhow, let's come to the body. And again, now I'll just put an H1 and say, wow, my web page, something like that. I save that one and I want to run this one. So I want to run this one. So I'll go over there and again, I'll go to my index.html and I'll say open with live server. You see, my web page has appeared. And again, I make any changes over here. Wow spelling. If I say that the wow spelling is not good, I'll just save that and hit save. You will then. So P, we write P instead. Right. Oh, Brian, we will only do that if P has no content in that one. You are right. But Usually paragraph we use where there is some content. And you got it? So, but yes, if you feel that there is something which does not have any content, you can always write that right. That's bad. When I'm just discussing something, at least you should reply, Brian. Yes, no, understood, not understood, go away, whatever, something like that. Brian, I beg you, say something. So thank you very much. Because you know, declaring an attribute can always end in no, we sing, whatever. I don't know what's your name, original name. And it does not really, you know, it has nothing to do with attribute. Remember, it has something to do with the tag. So for example, if I say that this tag has had this one, but this it has no content. So I'll say, okay, no problems. What I'll do is that I will just make this tag like this because it tag does not have something. There's nothing to do with that. So meta tag, you know, meta tag has some attribute. Don't worry about that. Meta chart set equal to UTF-8. So it has that one, right? I'll show you. So just don't worry about that. So if I had something like this, then I would have said, okay, meta has some content, something in between, but there is no content over there. So I'll say, okay, why just bother about this? Just make it an empty element. Why? Because meta does not have it. Vsync, you understood what I'm saying? Yeah, so, that's wonderful. Okay, so did you find this shortcut helpful? Which of course creates a longer web page, but just press this terminate, like, you know, exclamation, hit enter, you will get that one. Not only that, let me tell you another one. You write HTML or HTML5, for example, and hit enter, you will get the page. So you write HTML. If you just leave HTML, only you will get the HTML tag. But if you write HTML5, you will get the whole document. So if you write HTML5, you will get the, yeah, this is the shortcut. You're right. This is the shortcut. And as I said, don't worry about these two lines. I'll talk about these two lines shortly later on. Just don't worry about that. My page, whatever, right? And inside that body, you might be writing something like that. H1, I'm just continuously using that. My first web page. Right, and now I run that one to show you again. Or rather, it is running. Yeah, it's already running. So you say my page and my first web page, it is just appearing over here. So I'm taking a quick break right now, and I'm expecting that you enjoyed this content till now. And how many of you were there, like who have done it for the first time? Can I get some quick data from you? To have done it for the first, and I'll talk about this H1 and all those things later on after the break. Okay, Joseph, right? Okay, Vinny, did you enjoy that? Did you understand whatever we have discussed till now? And Vinny and Andy and everyone, that's wonderful. Actually, you enjoyed that. That's wonderful. And by the way, I'll be discussing Brian. That's wonderful. Brian, you understood everything. That's good to know. And I will just, you know, I will talk about some real cool stuff. This is not a real cool stuff. I'll talk about some real cool stuff, and then you will just, you know, see that there are lots of cool things. HTML like 10 years ago, but I completely forgot everything. Okay, we think that now you'll be there. Okay, so let's take a quick break of 5 to 7 minutes. This is 2:36 in my clock. Okay, no problem. And you will definitely will be back around 2:42 around, right? So let's take a break and have a cup of tea, everyone. And share my screen. Right. So this was the first web page that we have talked about. Like again, the first thing that we have done, and you have run this document, and now you understand that this is basically, this is our HTML page that we will be trying to create, that will have our first web page. And here I would like, you know, just talk about that there are certain things that we'll be just talking about. So let's start with some interesting facts, and I'll be using most of these things, every now and then, and we'll just see that there are. So there are something which are called content sections on HTML. Content sections, and what are those content sections? They will give us a very nice hint of what we want to just store or what we want to just display on our web page at a different locations. Now, the first one out of them is header section, header. And by the way, remember, this is not head section, this is header, which is quite different from the head. Head, if you remember, is a part of the syntax of our document. It is a very important part of our HTML document, and we cannot avoid this HTML head section over here. But we have got a section called header section, and it is basically there for introductory material at the top. At the top of the document. So remember, when you say head, we are talking about the structural or syntactical head section that lies in every HTML document, and that contains meta information, that contains title tag and all those things. But when we say that header is something, header is an optional type of an element that can be used to represent the header information or the top introductory information of any section. So header is one of them. What one is the second one? We have got a nav element. What is nav? Nav is navigation, navigational element. So all those elements that would be representing links in our web pages, and the links are one of the very important part of any web page. So all those web pages all those contents that would be representing links to different web pages, I would try to place them inside nav tag. So navigational element, like for example, if I say like, so navigational element can be a menu. We can put up a menu, we can put up an index file, we can put up links, etc. into this navigation section. So this is called nav section, navigation. Then there is a content section which is called main. Main is another very important one. It is the main content of the document. It is the main content of the document. Like what you want to just put in as a main content of your document, whatever you want to just place on a page, you will just place that inside the main content of the document, right? Main tag. So again, these are all optional tags, and as I said again and again, these were all structural or syntactical tags which are definitely there. But inside the body we are talking about, we can have these type of content sections. We can create a header inside that body. We can create a nav inside that body. We can create a main inside that body and things like that. And I'll talk about that. Now, other sections, sectional content sections are one of them that I've been using continuously. There are some heading levels over there. And these heading levels go up to 6 levels. So these are headers and subheaders on different pages. Headers on different pages. Now, here I'll start with this example because this is one thing that I would like to discuss in a very quick manner today. H1 we have used. Now come over here and write H2. And this is another shortcut. I think you are looking at it. So when I write just I write H2 and hit a tab or enter, I get complete tab, complete HTML. So let's start with this one. I'll say this is heading 1. This is heading 2, right? And I'll just keep on writing. So there are 6 levels of heading. H3, heading 3, right? H4, heading 4, H5, heading 5, H6, heading 6. Now let's run this document. And it's already running. You see, H1 is the biggest heading level, then followed by H2, then followed by H3, then followed by H4, H5, and H6. H6 is the smallest heading level. Now, you should know that this from the very beginning. Syntactically speaking, this is H1, H2, and H3, H5. Semantically speaking, when I have this heading 1, always, like again, if I want to create a section or maybe something in between that, I will say, for example, this H1 is my main heading and this H2 is the second heading. And if I want to place something inside that one, so for example, if I ask you, for example, that how I would represent something. So for example, if I say that this is H1, this is heading 1. Now all these subheadings will be heading 2 for me over here. You know what I mean? And if I want to make something out of this one, so for example, I want to say 2 point something. So I'll just create 2.1. So I'll always create that H3. I hope I'm making my point clear, and I hopefully, so if I make 2.2, that all will go as H3. Let me just make one another H3. And I say heading 2.3. Now you see there, I hope you will start making a common sense. Now it means that always the second level of heading will be followed by this one. So for example, this was heading 1, and now I will say that this heading 2 has all these one, and now here I would say that okay, now I want to create a heading 3 over here, and that would be H3 for me. Not H3, sorry. This would be H2 for me, and let's see who understands that one. So I am saying that you see that as you go in your index, that this is main heading, and then every subheading of this heading 1 will be in H2, and every subheading of this H2 will be in H3, and then this H2 means that I am now talking about this heading 3. You know what I mean? So for example, if I ask you, if I want to write something in after this one, so you know that I would be writing over, and I want to create, for example, 3.2. Exactly changes the font. There is a font change as well. If I want to write this 3.1, you know which heading I'll use? Anyone? I will use H3. You know, I'm trying to tell you, yes, H3. So I'll just come over there and I'll say heading 3.2. Something like that. Are you getting that? So yes, one way or other, the font size also changes, but these are very important implementations, and I'll talk about those implementations a lot. But remember that H1 is the biggest heading, and H2 is the second one, and 3, and then H5, H6. H6 is the smallest heading that we have. It's kind of like in a word when you start heading. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Victor, you are right. It's almost the same concept. Now, after this, there is another section which is called footer section. Footer, which is end material. So whatever you want to place in the end material, and what is in end material? You know, there is an author information, there is a copyright link, copyright information. There are some optional links at the bottom. You see on your, whenever you see your website, you'll find all these things over there. So now let's use all of them over there, and I would like to just introduce all these things over here. So I'll say, for example, inside body, I've said that there can be a header section. Header section might contain logo and the company name, and that might be, I'll be placing that inside H1, by the way. H1 is by company and the logo name. So header might contain this one, or might contain some other information as well. It might contain anything at all, header. And then we have, I talked about that, then we have a main section, a nav section. So nav section, here I will just come back and put some links. So links or menus, I will just place inside that one. Then there comes another section, which is main section. Main section, the main text over here. And now I'm telling you a very important thing. For working on the website, we have been provided with something very interesting, a gibberish server text, because we always want to have some text to work on, to play on. So to work on this text, we have got something called a lorem text generator, lorem ipsum text generator. So it is a website where we can generate the lorem ipsum text, and that text is basically a gibberish sort of text that does not have any meaning, and we can just install that one. So now there is one way we can just go and produce this lorem ipsum from here, and there is a shortcut over here. Inside main, if I come over here and I say lorem and I hit enter, so I get some text, like one paragraph of text over here. Isn't that cool? I can get some paragraph over. So let me just do Control Z, and let me tell you another thing. We have a paragraph tag, paragraph tag for creating paragraphs. Inside this paragraph, I come over here and I say lorem. So I create this lorem and I hit enter. Sorry. Lorem and I hit enter, and I get most of the text that I can put. And you enjoyed that lorem ipsum. And even lorem ipsum can be used with the text number. So for example, I say 3000, lorem 3000, and I hit enter. So I'll get 3000 words or 3000 paragraphs. Maybe it is just producing so many text over here. So we can work on that one, and when you are trying to just so it has just created so many text over here. So you can just give for example, you say 300, so it will come up with so lorem 300, for example, and if I hit enter, so there are three. So maybe it's asking for the 300 words or 300 text or whatever paragraph. It is just bringing up that one. Right, so you can remember this very interesting shortcut. I'm again telling you, and the shortcut is that you just need to write. If you just write a lorem, you will get a single paragraph. So if you come lorem, just write lorem and hit enter, and you will get a paragraph. Is that good? Lorem, you can use that lorem. So again, what I'm doing is that I'm just trying to. It's not in French, by the way. It's a gibberish text which does not have any meaning, and it's only there that you can just fill up your content areas and you can check your web page, because later on you will get the data from something like that, somewhere else, and you will be just replacing this data with the original text. So Daniel, just don't worry about what is written over there, and it is really meant for not to be readable. It's not readable. It's not French. It's not. No one knows what's that language. I don't know exactly. So, but anyhow, it is just there to fill up our content area so that we can just check some of the interesting things. You know what I mean? Okay, so now let's talk about something else. So I've talked about this lorem. So this is one page that, okay, and I'm not used H1 by the way. So let's in the main. So let's in the main, I'll just write down H1 and I say my article. So this is the main article, or this is the main thing that I wanted to just show, my article or something. H1 does not look good because I have already used H1 in the top. So I can use an H2 so that it really gives me a good sense of that. Okay, so after content sections, I was talking about these content sections by the way, right? After content section, we have some sections which are called, first of all, one is called text content. If I want to just place some text content. So to place this text contents, we have different containers as well. So number one, we use this div container. Div is a very interesting one. We divide our page into different div sections. Div sections. And what is this div section? A generic container. A generic container we use to attach CSS styles typically. So we give a div section, and the div means I'm dividing the page into some paragraphic form, and then I can use this div to style my CSS, apply some styling on that one. So div makes one complete section of the text. You know what I mean? I'll talk about this div as well. Then we have something called OL, ordered list. This is very interesting. An ordered list. What is this? If you talk about simply numbering, when you want to create the numbering, which is called ordered list. And there is another called unordered list, UL. And this is basically bullets. And every element should be followed by an li content. And I'll talk about this. This is called list item. And I'll tell you how to use that. Now go back to index.html. I'm talking about right now OL and UL. So go back to your index.html, and in this main, I come over here and I say, for example, the following are my choices, or something like that, choices, right? And I come over here and I write UL. It is called unordered list. So when I create a UL, an unordered list is created, and every element should be followed by this li. So I'll come over here and I'll say reading, and then I'll just create another li. I say writing, something like that. I just want to fill that in. So I can say surfing, whatever, and I can say, for example, cycling. Maybe I'm talking about the habits of some. Unordered list. I've created a UL. So let's see what happens. Control C. You see, I have a bulleted number of bullets appearing over here. This is called UL, unordered list. I've just copied and pasted that. Now, if I want to create an ordered list, I'll come here and I'll say OL, and rest of the thing I can just copy and paste this. If this OL will make it an ordered list. Control S, and now you see that 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers are appearing, and these numbers are saying that this is basically a numbering system that is appearing, right? So this is called ordered list and unordered list, and this is very important. Remember, whenever we are making links on navigation bar, as I was saying, we usually try to create these ordered list and unordered list. So for example, I will come over here, and as I said, links and menus. So I'll come over here and I'll say, okay, here I just want to create an OL, and inside that I'll create li, and I'll say home, and then I'll say about, and then I'll say, for example, let's take 3 of them, and contact me or contact us. Contact us. You see that okay, I created ordered list. I don't want ordered list. I want it unordered list, right? For some reason. And I'll talk about how you can just make this like this one and that one. So this is my navigation, and I will be creating these as a links. I've not discussed links as yet, but don't worry about that. I'll talk about that. So this is text content. We can have list items. We can have other text contents. Number 5 is paragraph that I have just used. A paragraph text. A paragraph of text. So paragraph P represents a paragraph of text. Then we have another one. We have something called block code. Block code element. Now it is called an extended quotation. An extended quotation. And I'll give you example of everything. Just don't worry about that. Our next session, which will be recorded for you, which is with ZE section. You will enjoy that, because I will be using all these to create an article for myself. Right? I'll use all these to create an article of myself. Right? And then this was all the text content. I'll talk about that. As I said, I will be using that. Now there is something called inline text as well. Inline text section as well. And what are those? The first of all, what we used over here is called anchor tag or A tag. A tag is very interesting and very, very important. Anchor tag, we call it anchor tag. It produces what? It produces hyperlink, allowing users to click and open something new. And I'll give an example as well. Now come over here. For example, I want to, after this surfing, I want to give Google and, for example, Twitter link over there. So I will use this A tag, anchor tag. A, if I just leave that, you'll find that it brings up ahref. So here, write down https://www.google.com. And after this tag sign in the content, just write down Google over here. Right? First of all, and then again type an A and write down, for example, https://www.twitter.com and write Twitter. Now you see here, I have 2 links appearing over there. If I click on Google, Google will open for me. If I click on Twitter, the Twitter will open for me. You know what I mean? That this is linked to Google and this is linked to Twitter. And A is basically used to link documents together. You can link your own documents together as well, or you can link to outside world as well. Should I tell you one more thing? And I'll come over here and I'm creating another document and I'm calling it about.html just for no reason. And here I will create the document. You know how to create document. You know, it's very easy. And what I'll do is that I'll just, you know, give a H1 over there and I'll say H1 and I'll say about me document or web page, about me page. Right, so about me page. Okay, Victor says, so can we reference href, li, Google li, a2? Oh, yeah. Brian, I'll give you that example. Just don't worry about that. First of all, look at this, Brown. I have created a new page about.html. And by the way, this about.html, index.html are in the same folder. Now go back to index.html and let's, for example, if you must be curious about this about, and you will. So again, see here, I think someone else has asked a question. Victor is also asking question. Victor, see here, in li, I come over here and I write in a, which is href, and I say about.html because that is in the same page, same folder. And I'll come over here and I'll cut this a from this part and I'll place this ending of a over here so that about is linked to about.html. Now you see here what happens. So this about is linked to about.html. Let me click that one. Is that cool? See here. If I click on about.html, about me page is open. And this is my about me page. It's not pages, it should be page. Let me save that and you see it goes away. Now, can I create another document and I can call it contact.html. Contact.html. And let's come back over here. No. What does not matter? Let me just tell you. Contact.html. Let me create this page first of all. And in H1, I'm writing H1 contact me. Right, so I've created a contact me page as well. So now the order really matters over here. After li, always I will come over here and I'll place an a over here. A href is equal to, and I want to connect contact.html. So I will do what? I will write over here contact me or contact, whatever, or contact us, you can write. It should come inside this a. So now if you see here, I'll show you that index.page is now connected with two documents. Hope, okay, contact us is not connected. And why? I've not saved that. I have saved that. Oh, yeah. So see here, if I click on about.html, about me page opens. If I click on this contact us.html, contact me does not. And do you see that contact.html? And if I go back and if I hit about.html. Make sense to everyone? I have discussed lots of things. You know, I have just, you know, in sequence I have discussed. And by the way, next class, as I said, next class will be so very interesting. I'll write a complete article by using these HTMLs, and you will enjoy that one because I'll be just, you know, using all the different things that we have. LIA on accident does it result in an error? If you put an LIA, oh, it does not really put an error, but I will tell you shortly. Yeah, I understand what you are saying. So you just mismatch this tag. For example, you say that open it and close it later on. So might be this does not give you any error, but I will tell you that this is an error. And how would you know? I'm not telling you right now. This is an error and this should not be done. Tag that opens last should close first. You know what I mean? So this A is started last, so it should, so here A is started last, so it should end first. Li will end last. Victor, you understanding what I'm saying? I hope you understand what I'm saying. But this does not, browser will not give you an error, but this is an error. I can promise you this is an error, right? So always whatever element is started first, it should be ended last. You see? Right, everyone? Okay, so today I'm not giving you any practice questions, but I'll give you practice questions. Definitely don't worry about that. next section, like this weekend. And again, you might have our test 3 as well from week 4, the last week that we have discussed. So we might have this test 3 open on your browser, and I will be meeting you, as I said, on Wednesday or Thursday. Tomorrow I might not be available, so I will be available on Wednesday and Thursday on the given timings. If you want to meet me, you just put up an email or a message over there on the chat on the Teams, and I will meet all them who will just put up that message. Any questions from anyone related to this topic that we have discussed? Any questions? It's going to be on Wednesday. What you are saying? It's going to be on Wednesday. You're asking test, Vinny? Yeah. It would be on Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday 9 to 11 a.m. and 1 to 2 p.m. and Thursday 9 to 10 a.m. Join the scheduled meeting. What do you mean? It's basically I have shared the link. Yes, the same link. But I know if you remember, I have shared a document there. I have just mentioned the link for every class. So you can just use whatever class you can join, and that document has everything. I don't know if you have, Kunal, have you seen that document or not? Right. So thank you very much, everyone. And let's see you on on Wednesday if you want to meet, and just put up a chat message and we'll meet there. Right. So bye everyone, and see you all next week. Oh no, Wednesday by the way, if you want to meet. And I told you about Monday. I'm just again recording this for next Monday. I won't be available. Next Monday we will have a recording session. Next Thursday I will be live with you. Right? That's something that you have to remember from now onward. For next week at least. Right. Thank you very much and enjoy your rest of the day.